Every Pokemon game has a special Pokemon you can only encounter one time per cartridge, from the legendary on the box to a hidden side quest. Of course, this makes these Pokemon rare, but this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to rare and interesting relics in these games. There are some Pokemon that were only capable of being caught during a brief time period in real life. Sometimes you had to attend an in-person event or buy a movie ticket, often containing a special move along with an original ID number that made them entirely unique to any other way you could find them. But as the ever-running train of time pushes on, memories, adventure, and one-in-a-million Pokemon are abandoned, sitting on a store shelf, forgotten. But the save files and memories are still there, locked inside that cartridge. I decided to travel to Japan, where 99% of all event Pokemon were released, to buy as many games as I could to search for these lost Pokemon. My first buy was a Pokemon White for 1400 yen from a famous game store in Akihabara. And this file was absolutely insane. I can't believe it was the first game I bought. Checking out their Wonder Cards, I saw they got the Liberty ticket, and when I opened up the game, Victini is here. I couldn't believe it. Victini on the first Pokemon White. There's a very niche feature in Black and White called the Pokemon Relocator, where you could send event Pokemon from past games into Pokemon Black and White, and that's exactly what they did with this Celebi right here. This Celebi came out to celebrate the Zoroark Master of Illusions movie. It's the same event Celebi that you would get in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, where if you take it to the Elix Forest Shrine, it would trigger the event where the player goes back in time. But this is that same Celebi transferred up to this game through the Relocator. But here's what's crazy, is if you do this, you unlock a secret gift. This event Celebi from Heart Gold Soul Silver in Pokemon Black and White unlocks a gift Zorua that you can get from Castelia City. And it seems they've already done this. This is the Zorua right here. But here's where it gets even crazier. This isn't even the only Pokemon they transferred up using that Relocator. They also transferred this shiny Suicune. This Suicune's event was called the Crown Beasts, and it was for that same movie. So here it is in all of its glory, transferred up from Heart Gold and Soul Silver. And what's even cooler is that it also unlocks a secret encounter. You might know of this one. It's the Zoroark in Lostlorn Forest, which it seems they did and also caught, so that Zoroark is right here. This is also the only place you can capture a Zoroark in this entire game, is by transferring up one of these old event Pokemon. And last but not least, they also had a distributed Zoroark that came from the TV show Pokemon Smash. It's also, interestingly, the only Pokemon in all of Gen 5 that can have the move Snarl. While that's a normal move now, it used to be exclusive to Zoroark like this, and only from this event. So it's actually a pretty special Pokemon exclusive to Gen 5. I also checked the Dream World, which I'll also do for every Gen 5 game I have, but there was nothing. I also found this DS game claw machine with a Pokemon Diamond in it. So while excavating it, I'm going to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Bai. I always thought that in Japan finding Pokemon games for a good price would be easy. Wrong. Especially in Tokyo, I can say with 100% that the best place to get anything Pokemon related from DS games to cards is through Bai. Bai acts as a middleman so that you can buy used and new things from Japan and have them shipped super quickly to a warehouse and then straight to your door. I'm so used to buying all my used games from Bai that when I actually saw the average prices of stuff in stores in Japan in person, I was shocked. But Bai isn't just the best for games, you can buy anything. Consoles, vintage items, Pokemon fishing lures, there's a booming Pokemon card market as well. They've been a supporter of the channel for a long time because I actually use this stuff and it's the best way to buy games. And this video would have been a lot easier if I just bought them all on Bai. And lucky for you, they have a great promotion going on right now. If you sign up to Bai using the link down below in the description, you'll get 10% off of your purchase. Shipping is way faster than you'd think, and there are literally treasures on there. There is such cool stuff on this site. when I made this video, I had Bai in mind as a sponsor. Thank you so much, Bai, for supporting the channel. And now back to the video.
I lucked out, managed to get this game here for only about 10 bucks.
And of course, this diamond has no save file at all. And that's not the last time this will happen.
There you go. Here, I filmed it really good.
So what happened with this Pokemon Pearl was inevitable. With 163 hours on file, it was looking promising until I started going through their Pokemon. They just so happened to be the luckiest player of all time, encountering nothing but shiny Pokemon catch after catch. Not a regular Pokemon in sight as they cleared the game. Boxes filled and filled, but they were not satisfied. Interestingly though, as I checked their Wonder Cards, I noticed something strange. They happened to receive the event Arceus that came out for this game legitimately. But when I looked at it in game, it was shiny. The event was just a normal Arceus, so I guess they somehow forced it to be shiny, but I didn't even know this was possible to do to an event Pokemon on a cartridge. Honestly, this one kind of stumps me. If anyone knows how this is possible, let me know. Also, I hatched their one egg in the PC. It took me like 8 minutes, and it was a regular Carvana, so I'm ready to move on. My second Pokemon Pearl only had 7 badges and 4 Pokemon in the PC, and sadly, not much else. You're bound to get at least a few save files like this searching through old games. The date on these Pokemon say 2020, maybe they played Pearl for the first time recently, which is cool. That's pretty much it for this file though. In went my second diamond. After the last Gen 4 game, I was a little hesitant when I opened the party on this game and saw every Gen 4 legendary, and some of them seemed to be traded. Surprisingly, the only ones that matched the original trainer was Darkrai and Giratina, meaning they attended the Darkrai event. Opening up the box, there were tons of Pokemon all organized, which I love. Shaman and Heatran were caught and seemed legit as well. But the most surprising and my favorite find is what seems to be a legitimate full odds shiny. What makes this shiny seem real to me is that it was caught right around the same time as many other Pokemon, and yet it's the only shiny one. They also took the time to mark all the marks on it with all the shapes you can, so it was clearly special to them. I love seeing the remnants of somebody finding a random shiny. It's almost like you can imagine their reaction. This file is also super cool because the dates line up to be only a few months after the game's release, meaning they were there during the start, and the fact that they did the Darkrai and Shaman events kinda backs this up.
Also, if you're wondering about this other Pokemon White, it had absolutely nothing aside from the team they used to beat the game and a single Reshiram. So there you go, it looks like they traded everything else away.
Although I had an unlimited supply of games to buy, I don't love to overpay, and finding a good deal is part of the fun for me. And I like to choose a game that I think has an interesting story to tell. I purposely chose games that looked a little older, a little rougher, possibly one that was played and forgotten about, maybe even around the time it came out. Which brings me to the next game. After biking around in a tiny lakeside city called Otsu, about an hour-and-a-half train ride away from Osaka, I stumbled upon a Hardoff, which is one of the best places to find games if I haven't mentioned that in this video already. I went inside and I luckily found a lone Soul Silver, the only Johto game that I ended up with for this entire challenge. I had been searching for one, but they're usually around 5,000 yen or more, and this one was only half the price and looked like it had a story. And of course, it did. When I booted it up, I was worried at first when I only saw 5 badges, but when I opened the party, there were all 3 Johto starters and a special Wi-Fi event Pikachu, received on August 9th, 2010. This Pikachu is supposed to be Ash's from the anime, which is why it knows Volt Tackle, Thunderbolt, Iron Tail, Quick Attack, and was probably received from a Nintendo distribution zone at their local McDonald's, to coincide with the release of the Zoroark Master of Illusions movie, possibly right here in Otsu. But this wasn't the only interesting relic hiding in this game. Not at all. Not only did they have a second Ash's Pikachu from the same event they also got that same day, but they also had 2 Manaphy's, distributed through a McDonald's Wi-Fi spot in a similar way, available for only 1 month during that same 2010 summer. Back in February of 2010 though, they attended another McDonald's Wi-Fi event and received one more extremely rare and fascinating Pokemon. To celebrate the 10th anniversary of Pokemon Gold and Silver, the Pokemon Company distributed a special Mew to Generation 4 games. This Mew is really cool because it was the first Pokemon to ever receive the Premier Ribbon. This ribbon was basically created for this exact Mew, a celebratory ribbon. This Mew is the only Pokemon that can receive this Premier Ribbon in all of Gen 4. No other Pokemon can have it, so it's extremely special. Not only that, but having the Premier Ribbon on your Pokemon blocks it from being traded into the GTS, meaning it's definitely theirs. And this person had 2 of them. I knew this file had a story. I got this Pokemon White cartridge from the same place and for the exact same price as I got this other Diamond. What's interesting, they had a ton of hours and they also caught every legendary, but that is pretty much it. They didn't participate in any events either and had no wonder cards, but it was still cool because they caught all the legendaries they could in the game without any events. This Pokemon Black gets the award for the most played with over 258 hours. The gameplay will prove that. They had a Cresselia, which is bizarre, possibly traded from Gen 4, but I'm not really sure. But nothing else in their boxes that immediately caught my eye. That was until I opened their Wonder Card list did I find some interesting details. They took part in 4 Wi-Fi events, one of them being the 1-year Pokemon Black and White Anniversary Mewtwo, holding the Premier Ribbon. A ribbon that is entirely exclusive to this single Mewtwo in all of Generation 5. Since no other Pokemon were distributed with it. It seems they traded up the Mewtwo though, since it's nowhere to be found in the actual cartridge. A gift Cubchoo's Wonder Card is here as well. I was able to find the original mention of this on an archived page from an old Pokemon series website. And this is where I stumbled upon the fact that whoever owned this game was a frequent viewer of the TV show Pokemon Smash. Junichi Masuda actually announced the mystery gift Mewtwo himself on this show. This player claimed 2 mystery gifts that were announced on Pokemon Smash with over a year in between. They also claimed a Jirachi that is no longer on the file that was connected to an episode of the anime. The only remaining mystery gift Pokemon on the file is the classic Mystery Egg, where you get 1 of 3 Pokemon. They got a Pansage that is now fully evolved. That's pretty much it for this file though, so let's move on.
I bought a Diamond and Pearl from this little game store in Kyoto. The Pearl is blue screening a bunch, so this is the Diamond. This file was really interesting. I caught them right in the middle of hunting for a Feebas. Yeah, I guess they never found it. While they did have a Darkrai and Shaman on this file, I actually think that these are not legit, given to the fact that they're both caught in Master Balls and they seem to have hacked in like 1,000 Master Balls, so I'm not really sure. They just can't be trusted. Sadly, when a file is hacked like this, it's hard to trust if any of them are legit, especially if I can't find the Wonder Cards. While this file didn't have any event Pokemon or anything like that, they did have a level 7 Bidoof that they ended up beating the Elite Four with, so I think that's pretty cool. I actually have more games I didn't get to cover in this video. It just got too long. If you guys would like to see more of this kind of thing, let me know. I would love to buy a haul through Buy and go through it that way. It'd be a lot cheaper. Thank you for watching.